problem. I ain't had shit to show, being modest. Now it's grams of the wax for my conscience. Bron James in LA, you're on college. I've been jumping on them planes like a hobby. Still moving with the pack like my partners. Just the John on them jets cause we wildin'. But the bowl is a party on the island. Moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and Flocka. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't even for the pain when my pots flip. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof for my first whip. Split the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen a change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs in the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve him at the minute, just the front, nigga. Goddamn. Had to grow up quick, I made my own rules. Had my first child, got it jumping with music. Can't really hang with nobody who losing. I thought by now that you would go and get it, but I could hardly see niggas this distant. Know you get cropped if you not in the picture. And I made that tag and went got a bag. Shots to the Henny and OG prescriptions, put rebel shit on the map. Took a leap from where I started at. Started ballin' now, I'm Chris Paul and Cass. Got him steady calling for the mold, but I'm on a roll, gotta call him back. And that's all facts.
May I have your attention for a very important public service announcement? We are taking over the internet, and the United States champion of word wrestling entertainment has returned for another edition of the Pocket Locker podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast, and as always, good people, I am in airplane mode, gang. You already know, they already knew what to do. Prime time, late night, Christmas Day. There's no other way to get it done than with Pocket Locker 86. They already knew who to call. Now, look, we're going to jump right on into this one because we don't have a lot of time, so we just going to go ahead. First off, I got my main man, Nitty, is in the house with me. Yes. Now, look, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. First off, Nitty bears no responsibility for tonight's programming. Tonight's programming's all on me. So look, I know what to do, right? Because look, I was like, look, I don't really want to do more counter apologetics on Christmas Day. It's fucking Christmas. I don't want to do.
I get you.
I don't want to do a sad call in or a crazy open panel with no direction to it. So look, I said this gonna be the junk food. This gonna be that junk food because you staying up too late on Christmas. You either ain't with no family, you trying to get away from that family, and this is gonna be like the brownies and cupcakes and ice cream because nothing in this stream is going to be healthy for you. With that being said, I do have to issue a bit of a trigger warning. Unfortunately, I think the things we're going to be talking about tonight involve allegations of SA in misconduct, potentially also involving minors. So let this serve as an official trigger warning that if these topics are not your cup of tea, especially on a day like today, this may not be the stream for you. And I totally get that. We will catch you next time. But look, we gonna have to talk about this celebrity gossip, y'all. It's just gonna keep it like that. We're just gonna do something totally different. All right. We touched on this a little bit yesterday. Some of y'all may know the boy Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, Bad Boy, We Ain't Gonna Stop is actually more like Bad Boy you really need to stop. You really, you really need to stop, because apparently it's been some craziness going on. But gang, it's so many other celebrities caught up in this, and the shit black as hell. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's all types of black celebrities caught up in this, and the accusations and the allegations is wild. So look, we just gonna kick back. It's just gonna be like late night chilling with your cousins. That's how I get down. You want to know who I am in the family? I'm not the racist uncle. Okay, I'm not dad out there roasting the turkey or nothing like that. I'm definitely not grandpa falling asleep on the couch all goddamn day watching the game. Okay, no, I'm cousin Jay. All right, grab you something to drink. Okay. Through him, with him, in the unity of the flying man. Y'all already know you may drink. Hit you some adult beverage, okay? Light it on.
I'm drinking Jesus's blood.
Drinking Jesus's blood, and then we just gonna get into some gossip. We just gonna sit around. Have you heard about so and so? That's what it's about to be like. It's about to be like high school, y'all. All right, look, but before we jump into it, go Jesus. It's your birthday. We gonna party like it's your birthday. We gonna sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck. It's not your birthday. Oh man. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Craziness. Just straight craziness. Ooh, look, I ain't even gonna mention names. I'm gonna let the names just drop on you.
Told me before that she was at a party before that they attended, and you said the party was weird. Tell me about that.
I guess that's what Tupac was talking about, the Illuminati and shit. It's like Vivica Fox was with this big gay man. He was 6'9". They called him, his name 6'9". He had the red hair with big old booty and shit. Nobody was gay no more. What the f is going on here? It's just a lot of weird dude. Yeah.
Cassie wasn't the only one who wanted, or she didn't want it, but Cassie who searched for the big black, and she was searching for the big black, not only for herself, but for somebody else who we all know that was in the room with her.
Girl, hold on to your wig, because Jaguar Wright just spilled the hottest tea about Diddy and Will Smith getting down and dirty in some ongoing freak-offs. I swear, just when we think we've hit peak mess with Diddy, the drama escalates to a whole new level.
So I'm gonna have to catch y'all up. All right, that guy that was talking is like Diddy's former bodyguard. And Jaguar Wright is like a backup singer for a lot of hip hop artists. The backup singer for like Diddy, Jay-Z, a whole bunch of people. Diddy was involved in a lawsuit from his ex-girlfriend named Cassie, who claimed she made him do a whole bunch of wild and out ass shit, especially like recruiting BBC. I don't know how else to say it to you. The British Broadcasting Company itself, to come into Diddy's house and broadcast with her, do what the BBC does. Okay. And now he's like, nah, it wasn't just for her. It was for him as well. So this is, I know it's a lot. All right. And yeah, now TD Jakes is up in it and Jay-Z is up in it. And now she's talking about Will Smith. They got me, y'all. Y'all know me. I don't talk about no celebrities. I don't care about no celebrities. I don't be reading People magazine, none of that. Okay, but there's so many names up on. I'm like, what's going on? Because you're breaking the black internet. Everywhere I go, YouTube, social media, Quora, email, all of this stuff. Diddy, this person, gang, this is crazy.
According to Jaguar, this ain't just a casual thing. Diddy and Will have allegedly been in the freak-off game for years. And guess what? There are videos documenting...
All right, so them things where she had to do all the stuff with all the different people, that's called the freak-off. And that's what we getting into. And freak-offs. That's the buzzword going around. Nitty, do you even know what... I'm about to make you feel very white, Nitty. Did you even know what a freak-off was?
No.
I ain't gonna lie, my black ass never heard of that shit either.
Okay.
But that's apparently what Diddy called his sessions.
I thought it would be like, you do this in a porno, and then I do that in a porno, and then everyone votes on it. It's like Rotten Tomatoes, but porn.
Now, see, that's a very good point, because this is something I wanted to bring up. freak off sounds competitive, doesn't it? Anytime we off something else, if we have a dance off or a cook off, right, or something like that, it's a competition, and it's supposed to be a winner and all of that. So this sounds like intense stuff. But yeah, y'all, that might be the new vocabulary. So Diddy called these wilding out sex sessions freak offs. All right, so that's what I'm telling y'all, it's a whole. I know it's a lot. Now you understand why. Now you'll understand the assignment. We're trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
It's rotten tornadoes.
It is, man.
The whole shebang. Jaguar did not come to play because she came armed with receipts, exposing not only Will's alleged relationship with Diddy, but also the explicit details of their freaky escapades. Hold on tight, cause this drama is on another level.
Yeah.
They're both bisexual. They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship.
Okay, so y'all better hop on this drama real quick, because this Diddy drama is taking an unexpected...
Yeah, Nitty's the best person to have in the house for this, because that's the other element we about to talk. There's so much into this. All right, y'all, I got to think about a lot of stuff I'm about to throw at you. But there's a problem in Black culture with Black men living these double lives. We call them undercover brothers, down low brothers, or whatever. And now it turns out that all of these men who are like supposed to be like the beacons of Black, heterosexuality are living these crazy ass undercover lives, which again, we don't have a problem with gay sex, but don't fake the front with the self-hatred. It's like the coonery, right? All of a sudden it's the coonery. The Black people who hate Black. So I don't know what a coon is. A coon is a Black person who hates Black people. Your
Uncle Ruckus.
Your Uncle Ruckuses, your Jesse Lee Petersons, your what's her name, Candace Owens. Okay, that's who we talking about. Yeah. So that's one issue here, is that this is just putting another batch of A-list celebrities in this trope of Black men who were really not comfortable expressing their sexuality. But on top of that, there's this whole thing of grooming that's been going on apparently in the industry, where these older, more powerful guys take advantage of young men who are sometimes, let's just say, not even young men yet, if y'all feel me, okay? And then they're using their influence and power and connections in the industry to kind of get them way out of bounds, okay? And then there's some consent issues. It's a whole lot of craziness. I just don't want anybody to think that we're bashing on them or with bashing on them for being homosexual. I couldn't care less. Okay. Yeah. But it's the hypocrisy, it's the scandals, it's the coercion, it's the manipulation. And this is something we could relate to as people who regularly have discussions about the corruption and things going on in the church, right? Because it's right. A similar pattern where you use...
That's what I was just going to say, that it's just like a pastor living a double life. Where
yes.
you like Trapped in the Closet, if you've ever seen that, like the second part where you find out that it's the minister messing around with some other dude, right? Like, or like the third episode of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. If you've never seen it, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, you sound like you be watching some crazy stuff. But
you've never seen Trapped in the Closet?
Nah, I haven't. Now I gotta go watch it. Now you got me caught up in this. But yeah, it's that's gonna be a whole element of this, y'all. People using the guise of mentorship and all of this, and let's just keep going.
Expected turn that's about to blow your minds. If you thought things couldn't get any crazier, buckle up, because I've got some seriously juicy updates that are about to turn this whole situation from 0 to 100. So the Diddy chaos was already a mess on its own, but now it's hitting overdrive, because guess who's been dragged into the mix? Will Smith, that's who. And you won't believe how Jaguar Wright spilled the beans and let the cat out of the bag, revealing that Diddy and Will Smith were apparently getting down and dirty in some wild shenanigans. I don't know about you, but discovering that Diddy and Will Smith had some kind of secret shenanigans wasn't exactly on my 2023 bingo card. Just when we thought the whole celebrity breakup and divorce scene was as messy as it could get. Now, the whispers about Diddy and Will being more than just friends have been floating around for ages. I guess it sort of adds up, considering they're both influential guys in the industry, and there have been those hush-hush rumors lingering for years. For a very long time, people had mixed feelings about Will being on the DL because he was in a happy marriage with Jada, and they were considering considered to be one of the best couples in Hollywood. Or so we thought. They have been together for about 25 years now, and we thought that made them a great couple. But then the great entanglement drama happened, and we realized just how messed up their marriage was.
Basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, you know, I think from there, you know, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement.
The entanglement situation really hit their public image hard.
For those that don't know, they were known as a freaky deaky couple for a long time. We knew, you know, they may do some swinging and have some openness and all of this and that. But, you know, I guess it came out last year or whatever that they, you know, really had a lot of issues and long periods of separation. But this entanglement situation, which is a whole thing that she introduced, you know, notice how celebrities just be calling they freakiness. They be coming up with new names for their stuff. The rest of us we just be fucking around, you know, just fucking around.
Love triangle.
Like, yeah, whatever. No. It's an entanglement. That's exactly. They come up with some new vocab for this. But Nitty, the person she had the entanglement with was a young artist who was her son's friend. Yes. The Smith household is on that freaky Pornhub stuff, y'all.
No. Hold on. I mean, if you aren't Googling MILF, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying that is what it is. Hey.
You
know,
hey.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna get a little personal, Jay.
Uh-oh.
I was less embarrassed when my wife discovered that I was looking at MILFs, because I'm like, honey, just think about it. This is realistic. Okay? I'm not looking at these amateur.
Honey, it's okay. There are age. They might have children.
Look, she got curves.
You know,
Like
I'm helping to feed her family. You understand what I'm saying? She got private school to pay for. You know what I mean? It's tough out here.
I have realistic expectations.
Nitty, we're ending this conversation because I'm definitely about to start talking about my search history in ways that I probably should not be doing right now. So you know me, you get personal, I'll just get more personal.
That's when people started to realize just how messed up the marriage was. It was at that point that the rumors of Will being on the DL started to get stronger and stronger, and it got to a point where it became glaringly obvious that things were not what they seemed. Alexis Arquette jumped on the train and revealed that Will's first marriage to Sherry Zampino ended because Sherry caught him in bed with a man. Alexis wrote, "When Jada comes out as gay and her beard husband admits his first marriage ended when she walked into him, servicing his sugar daddy Benny Medina, then I will listen to them. She being his first wife. Paid off. Silent."
All right, look, I ain't even gonna front. It's more vocabulary. Some of y'all might not know what a beard is or what's going on, but the accusation is that Will Smith's first accusation ended because his wife walked on him servicing his sugar daddy. Crazy. But then they're also keep saying that Jada's a beard, like because she's really bi or doing whatever. But basically, a beard is somebody who knowingly or unknowingly covers up another person's infidelity and or sexual orientation. You know what I mean? So it's like your gay friend who brings a girl to the dances for mom and dad and all of that type of stuff. Basically, Will and Jada kept bringing each other out to us so that we wouldn't know what was going on for real with them. Allegedly, y'all. Allegedly. Okay, YouTube, don't come after me. I'm just jumping in the gossip. That's all.
Moving on, Alexis wasn't the only person who came out, because in a rant against Jada, Trisha Paytas called Will out for allegedly forcing her male dancers to sleep with him.
Jada Pinkett, really gonna listen. How about worry about your daughter being naked in bed at 13 with her 20-year-old boyfriend on the internet? How about worry about that? How about worry about your
Crystal, we just doing our research, that's all.
Male dancers, you know, when they didn't want to. How about talk about that?
But that's not all, because Jaguar Wright also came out to spill the tea on how Will has affairs with multiple younger men in the industry. She claimed that he pretends to mentor the men, but then he allegedly forces them into a relationship that leaves them traumatized.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house fucking screaming to get away from them in their mentorship.
Okay.
Meek Mills.
That's terrifying. Go ahead, Nitty.
That is not bisexuality. That is fetishized abuse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because
yes.
for them, it's not that they want romantic or meaningful relationship building sexual encounters. This is about exercising power and taking from someone younger that they're lusting for, but it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say this is bisexuality. It's some kind of power dynamic to express some sexual tension, maybe some desire for, being inside someone that they imagine themselves as. Like, there's something else there that is not.
Yeah.
I think
she's
desiring, relations
Absolutely.
with the same sex for intimacy.
On either side, right? Either because, if you're
So
somebody.
she's wrong.
Well, she's
That's what I'm
just
trying to say.
she's just saying they're bisexual. I don't think she's wrong about that. She's just trying to.
I think she doesn't understand.
No, she's the person calling out the abuse. I think she understands.
Well, she has those categories.
She may not have had a verbiage. Yeah.
Right. I don't think she sees how.
Why didn't he just freeze? Did he freeze for y'all too? Nitty, you back? Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't think she knows that behavior is how you would describe bisexuality, right? She's just seeing it as, man did thing with man and man did thing with woman, therefore bisex, right?
Yeah. But I think that I think she's just saying that because I guess, and this is what I mean. Like, I don't even think that's really a story here, right? I think that's part of where people are at. And it's like, if you're coming out and you're making accusations about these people that are going to involve stuff with them doing stuff with men, people are going to put so much attention on the fact that you're allegedly saying they're gay.
Yeah.
I think she's like, screw that, they're bisexual, whatever. Let's talk about the fucked up, coercive, manipulative, abusive shit that they're doing to people. But yeah,
I guess the reason I say that is more for the audience, right? To get us in the headspace that we can agree with what she's saying most of the way, but we gotta, be clear amongst ourselves that, like, this is not a good way to talk about this.
Nah, I mean, none of this we're way past good way to talk about any of this, but yeah, for sure, Nitty.
Bashir Gray left that house fucking screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed help.
Whoa, talk about chaos. But doesn't this whole thing about Will traumatizing men ring a bell about someone else making headlines recently for getting physical with his girlfriend? Yep, I'm referring to Diddy. And before anyone starts talking about how Jaguar could be making things up, let me remind you that everything she has said about Diddy and many other celebs has turned out to be true. Sure, a lot of people thought she was just making things up for attention, but I think that we're way past doubting Jaguar now. And despite all his threats to sue her, Diddy backed off real quick because he knew it'd only make him look worse. Okay, so let's talk about this Diddy and Will Smith situation because, Chili, there's a lot going on here. Is it just me, or does it seem like more than a coincidence that both Diddy and Will were allegedly up to some questionable things with younger boys around the same time? It kind of adds.
Maya, that's a whole thing with all of this reporting is there's a lot here that's, like I said, that's worth talking about. The abuse, the coercion, the influence peddling, the fucking grooming of industry people, all of that stuff. But there is this tone that's still, and that's what's kind of frustrating about all this too, is just taking place in the context of Black celebrity culture, which does have a negative connotation on anything that isn't cis hetero, and it plays a role in all this, because at the same time you're trying to listen to people to like hear what they're saying that matters. There's all this like value laden language that you're like, that's a distraction, stop talking about that. But yeah, it's definitely good to call that out.
whole new layer of sketchiness to the situation, and it has people giving them the side eye. So Diddy has been accused of doing some pretty shady stuff with young guys in the industry, which kinda adds up with what Jaguar claimed about Will Smith. And get this, Diddy's shenanigans were serious enough to have the feds sniffing around his business. Back in 2013, there were reports that Diddy was being investigated by federal agencies for sleeping with young boys. According to reports, during a debriefing session with federal investigators, James Rosemond, the music manager turned cocaine kingpin, was reportedly questioned about the sexual preferences of entertainers, including whether Sean Diddy Combs was having intimate relationships with underage boys, according to a U.S. District Court filing. A prosecutor then asked about entertainers' intimate preferences, including, but not only, Sean Combs having intimate relationships with underage boys. For those who don't know who Jimmy Henchman is, he was once a big shot in the music industry.
Yeah, nah, Maya, I don't even think I could adequately put it into words, but like it's just the homophobia in Black community is just different. Like real different. It's one of the struggles and it's very like heavy, especially too in like Christian families, right? And so much of the music industry and those people come out of those same ideologies. Yeah, it's a whole added element to this, but it's also one of the things that motivates me to be as anti religion as I am, is because I know the sort of social stigmas that it puts on people, and I see that as like an existential threat, right, to our community. Like, so it's not something to be comfortable with. But yeah, I think this and this story is definitely bringing a lot of this to the forefront. So, I mean, in that sense, I hope it sparks a wider conversation. In other words, I hope we start talking about it again. You know, people laugh when I say undercover brother, but this was a real thing. But it was something that was talked about when I was coming up. Like it was kind of, I don't know if it was in the news, but it was certainly in Black news. It was in, you know, it was something you would read about in Black media. You know, we have our own magazines and stuff like that. And you would definitely hear about it. It was something that was the plot line of a lot of novels. Like it was something that was really in sort of like the forefront of popular culture. And we need to get back to that because there's so many people that shouldn't really have to deal with this nonsense.
And he is now smack in the middle of a federal sentence. I'm talking about a very long list of charges, including murder for hire, money laundering, drug trafficking, and so much more. Now, the investigators weren't your local cops. We're talking about the big guns, the federal investigators. When the feds come knocking, it's no joke, and they mean business. And when they started grilling Jimmy about Diddy and his potential involvement with minors, you know, things were about to get wild. And y'all know what they say, where there's smoke, there's usually fire, and this situation, it's starting to look like a blazing inferno. Nothing ever came out of the investigation, but then people still believed that Diddy had something with young boys. I mean, even his bodyguard Gene said the same thing.
All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this and try to engage other men into sexual acts with him. There was story that he was trying to get Chris Brown. There's stories about, you know, those young boys that he had, a group B5 or something like that, trying to get them. Yo, it's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him.
Then Orlando Brown also claimed that Diddy gave him some mouth action.
I don't know if hang on, this part's
Mouth
crazy.
action.
I don't know if this part's crazy, Nitty. But real quick, I don't know if y'all saw what popped up on my screen. It basically was like one of them, click this link to go to another video. And it says something about 50 threatens to, that Diddy threatens to unalive 50 Cent because of blah, 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 blah. 50 Cent is apparently making a documentary about Diddy. Yo, I'm telling you, this shit is, I've never seen no shit like this in my life, y'all. I've never seen, this is crazier than, this is like Cosby, R. Kelly, like it's wilder than all of that, because you got to remember all of those were stories about a single person caught up in some nonsense. This is like this is like Jeffrey Epstein, hold my beer. You think you have money and power? You ain't seen shit yet. These stories are crazy, y'all.
But I don't trust 50 Cent to make a good documentary. Like, is he gonna make 50
Oh
cents
no, 50
on it?
Cent's gonna make a great documentary. Trust me on that one.
All
But
right.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. 50's not playing. If he do something, it's gonna be done right. Yeah, for sure.
If you know what I mean.
I'm on you.
I mean, yo, Diddy, you gave me the ooshka scooslash. You gave me the ooshka smoosh. The
Flash.
Diddy.
What the fuck does that mean?
Y'all know about that? Y'all know. They don't use that. I gotta hear that again. Oh, that's so funny.
If you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, yo, Diddy, you gave me the ooshka scooslash. You gave me the ooshka smoosh. The smoosh. Diddy. Yeah, son. You know what I mean?
You know,
I mean, you gave me the ooshka smoosh. I love it, yo. I love it.
Good.
You know, that might be a good term to cover up what I want from my wife in front of my kids.
Yeah.
I should be like, yo, honey, can I get a little oosh-lash?
You gotta get that ooshka shmoosh. Oh man, yo, this dude just made my day, man. I love it.
You gave me the ooshka smoosh.
But as it turns out, Orlando isn't the only young.
But then, Jay, my kids are gonna go to school and be like, "Oosh gosh, mooflash, oosh gosh, mooflash, ha 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 ha."
Yeah, they are. It reminds me. I seen a meme on, I think it was Instagram recently, and the girl said something like, "Do we have a cat? Why did Daddy say he was gonna beat up the kitty? Why would he even hurt a cat?" It was. Yeah, man. Be careful what you say around your kids, and also the internet's probably fake. So,
Youngster in the young Hollywood scene who might have had a shady encounter with Diddy. Rumor has it that Justin Bieber might have gone through something similar. Justin got into the industry pretty early, making him extra susceptible at the time. The whispers about Diddy and Justin's situation started about 14 years back during their 48 hours.
They didn't come up. I turned on the caption.
With Diddy thingy. 2 days hanging out might not sound like a big deal, but considering Diddy's alleged track record with younger guys, it definitely raised a few eyebrows. Yet, that wasn't even the most concerning part.
Yeah,
See, in this video,
know,
Diddy
so
said some
weird.
things that had people questioning if there was more to it than met the eye. One of the first things he said was to make a promise to gift Justin a Ferrari for his 16th birthday. Now, when someone's throwing around promises of luxury rides to a teenager, you can't help but wonder what's really going on behind the scenes.
Okay, hold on.
Hang on, watch this.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come in LA. Yeah, it's gonna be yours. So every time you come in LA, it's a little dusty, but you know, come get the front shot.
And before we get past that, he jumped right into promising to give Justin a mansion for his 18th birthday.
And then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay, I get the mansion. Yeah. So where are we off to now?
But wait, because it's about to get even wilder.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
But as it turns out, Justin was not the first, because Diddy allegedly pulled a similar move with Usher, who, mind you, was just 13 when he lived with Diddy. Now, one question that everyone...
Sorry, Nitty, you was gonna say something.
I mean, I get that that's all sus, right? And let's just say illicit things happened between Diddy. Diddy did some ditties with some diddling with some,
Diddy
bad
Diddy
stuff.
diddling, and yeah.
But I hate saying this, but like 2 days, like to foist the accusation on just 2 days of interaction is like, you need hard evidence, no pun intended, to say like, okay, this definitely happened between, like, sure, it's grooming and suspect, obviously, especially if like the other allegations are true, but you can't go, therefore it actually happened to every
Oh
young
yeah, we're
man.
just
You know what I
out
mean?
here,
I
and
just
it's all very speculative. But see, that's the thing is when there's a lot of stuff coming out about a person you don't know.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about these situations, because to me, I say it's all celebrity gossip, which means I don't take it as like I can decipher what's really going on or what's really happened.
Right.
The only thing I can decipher is what are people saying and trying to figure out why they're saying it. And honestly, like, I'm a person who, I hate to say it, I don't really care about celebrities that much. But they're just people, right? And so these are things that are happening. This is stuff that's happening every day, all the time, everywhere, right? But it is definitely interesting because like a lot of these cases, the access is there, right? And that's what makes these situations so scary. Like when somebody has that legitimate position or legitimate power, right? There's the privilege that comes with it of having access to people. And there's so much room for plausible deniability because I could just say, fuck you, I'm Diddy. I knew he was going to be a big star. I wanted to buy him a car so we'd always be friends.
Right.
And I can't, sure. You know what I mean? But that's the plot line, right? And I think that's what scares us, right? Because we all have people in our lives who have legitimate access, who, were important influences coming up. And we could look back and say, oh, I'm really glad this person or that person was a great mentor and they never took advantage of me. But that's that sort of thing we can all relate to, being in a situation where somebody has leverage over you, right? And we've all talked about, I think it's even something like somewhat of a joke where people almost joke about, like there's a price at which you'll do something, right? Like, everybody's kind of got a price, right? And, people do a lot of crazy shit. So, joke about, hey, I don't know, maybe for $2 million I would do a little something strange for some change, you know what I mean? And I like to think about sort of joking about those things from the comfort of I would never, like that's sort of how easy it is to just to speak about those things because you'll never be in that situation. You see what I'm saying? But we're talking about people who are really, really in that situation, right? Where they're really, really artists and they're really, really coming up. They're really, really trying to get into the industry. So it definitely puts all of that intrigue into the story because it's, you're talking about people who really have the access and are really in the situation. So you're like, oh, well, it'd be crazy. But yeah.
Some papacy shit.
Yeah. But the other thing that's scary to me about
papacy.
Because I think a lot of this stuff with Diddy, and it is going to be crazy because there's so much we'll never know, right? And I think a lot of what people buy into will be bolstered by like what they do get good evidence for. Like, oh, well, we know he did this fucked up shit over here. So when I hear this other story about him doing some fucked up shit, it seems more credible than otherwise. But what's so crazy too is he's one of those people who seems that a lot of the stuff that came out is because of his particular way he goes about his stuff. So like he likes to videotape stuff. And apparently he videotaped a lot of stuff without people's consent. So that is part of why people think he's paying a lot of this stuff off, is because he happened to videotape a lot of dumb shit himself. You see what I'm saying? And it was out there. But what you said had me thinking, because when you're really dealing with people that is influence, most people are not around in a situation. Like I was thinking the other day about how I used to spend time, for instance, in my professors' houses. Like I got close to my professors when I was in college, and it was nothing for me to chill with them in their homes. It's like if something would have happened, it would have just been my word against theirs. Right. And if people were like, oh, well, you need some hard evidence, like what the fuck hard evidence you want me to have when? So that's what's really scary when you're dealing with these type of issues, right? Because it doesn't take a long time, and it it doesn't have to be necessarily people there or a lot of evidence that's going to be available or whatever. But yeah, so it's It's some pretty crazy shit, but yeah, we just in the speculation, y'all. Hey, Breeze in the house.
Had is what Usher's parents were thinking when they allowed him to move to Diddy's house and live with him. No shade on his parents, but let's call a spade a spade. That decision raised some serious eyebrows. I mean, everyone knew about Diddy's party lifestyle, which wasn't exactly an ideal environment for a 13-year-old. I'm not trying to be judgy, but in hindsight, it's pretty clear that this living arrangement was a recipe for disaster.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're
too.
going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop. What? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 in the morning with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like, you know,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old.
The party scene was a whole mess, but it takes a darker turn because...
Go ahead.
I think the objection back then to a minor spending all that time at a powerful rich person's house is like, especially in let's say in my mind, I'm not black and I didn't, you know, follow hip hop that hard, but to me in the 90s, like a minor, doesn't matter who, going off, like if a you know, let's say like Demi Lovato as a kid went to live with Britney Spears, people would be like, what the fuck? They wouldn't be thinking, oh, she's grooming her. They'd be like, whoa, she's going to have access to liquor. She's going to have access to all this money and drugs and this crazy party scene. And I think that, like, if I time traveled mentally to the boomers that were watching this, that's what they were concerned about.
They should have been concerned about that, and all of that happened.
But they shouldn't. I don't think they were suspect that, you know, Diddy was grooming. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure,
Puff
yeah,
Daddy was
yeah,
grooming,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah, right.
I think this person is anachronizing that the allegations now to what they were concerned about back then, which is not what I think.
No, I think everybody. I think
you know what I
everybody.
mean?
I think everybody's looking at it in hindsight, just going, all of this looks suspect now.
Right,
And
but her words were like, this raised eyebrows back then, but she's wrong because the reason it raised eyebrows is different than it raises eyebrows now. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not positive, because there's been rumors about a lot of these celebrities for a long time too. Right.
In
And
the
so
90s?
I don't know. Yes.
Really? I want proof.
It's always like, that's what I'm
can
saying.
agree
It's
to
hard it's hard to document. But no, I by and large, I think you're right. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if people also thought it was inappropriate because they suspected something like this. I don't know that. I mostly think it's what you said. You see what I'm saying? But I don't know how long people have thought this stuff about Diddy. From some of these accusations, it seems like people have known about this for a really long time. Right? Because that's what gets lost in a lot of this, right? Like when we talked about, for instance, we talked about TD Jakes yesterday because he got caught up in this. He's like the big black mega pastor that got caught up in all this. People in his life, the accusation is that they've known that this has been going on forever, that his wife knows, she's okay with it, she's enabling him, this has been the arrangement forever and a day. You know what I'm saying? With the accusation of Will Smith, they're saying she's saying this is his first wife left him for this. So if there's any truth to that, you would think there's been people that have been saying sus shit about them for a long time. For instance, 50 Cent has been dropping cues about this shit for a long time. Wendy Williams shared speculation, and way back in the day, and Diddy, it's probably like the early 2000s, Diddy got her fired for implying shit about him. And now people are like, maybe she wasn't so far off base, and what he did was super vindictive, right? And at the time, it looked like, you know, he's pissed because she said something and whatever. Now people are like, maybe that was legit. So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it's just,
as it turns out.
But yeah, absolutely, man.
Jason
Absolutely.
said the Michael Jackson stuff. There's a big difference between the glitz, glamour, the bitches, hoes, and drugs in the 90s and a troubled man building a Neverland ranch specifically for kids on his property and then trying to keep them there. Like I think that would have been raised a bit more flags at the outset.
I mean, it's definitely different, but there's an element there that's definitely comparable.
Yeah,
I definitely see the comparison for sure.
Out, Usher is still carrying some trauma over it more than 25 years later. I mean, think about the kind of trauma it must be for him to still struggle with it after all this time. He tries as much as he can to avoid the topic of what it was like living with Diddy, and that should have been the ultimate flashing red flash that something seriously messed up went down at Camp Puffy, or as they called it, Puffy Flavored Camp. Remember that interview he had with Howard Stern? The things he said were like immediate red flags. It's one thing for a celeb to keep a tight lid on certain aspects of their life, but when someone like Usher, who's usually pretty open, clams up about a certain period, you know there's some heavy stuff lurking beneath the surface.
Like Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily.
Just so y'all know how bad it was, Usher vowed that he would never let his own kids do the same thing.
Now, would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
I'm with you,
He
Nitty.
then claimed that Diddy forced him to
right?
hide what he was going through from his parents.
Mary J. Blige, they didn't know nothing about this shit. Oh. I was having a good time.
Given Diddy and Will's alleged track record of getting involved in questionable situations with young guys, it's not too far-fetched to entertain the idea that they might have had some behind-the-scenes hanky-panky together. I mean, if there's someone who's been swamped with down-low rumors and accusations more than Will Smith, it's Diddy. Seriously, the list of whispers is longer than I can even remember. We can't even scratch the surface of all the claims that have surfaced over the past few years, and not just from the regular gossip mill, but from folks in the industry too. Take Wendy Williams, for instance. She spilled the tea on Diddy playing both sides and using his long list of girlfriends and baby mamas as a smokescreen for his real deal. Now, Wendy didn't come with hard evidence of Diddy's sexuality. She was just repeating some juicy she heard, but it made Diddy furious. He went all out, trying to get Wendy fired and kill her career over that.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
And that's not all, because his former bodyguard, Gene, also spilled the tea on Diddy's escapades with men.
My Jennifer was upstairs, and he said, yo, Gene, watch the door, don't let nobody come through here. And I said I watched the door. If I watched the door and him and a man ran out naked, and I said that, ain't nobody told me that. I saw that myself.
Rapper Exhibit also revealed that Diddy once took him to a gay bar, and he was so shook that he snuck out of the bar and ran home.
For his business, we go down and get a drink. You know, we sitting there bopping to the music, and then she point over the corner. It's two dudes kissing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's this? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay. Then there's girls in the club too, and then she point another direction. It's another dude over there like butt-ass naked.
Oh, and let's not even get started on 50 Cent and how he has been keeping his foot anon Diddy's neck, steadily exposing Diddy over the years. There was a time he shaded Diddy on IG and said, sorry, I can no longer...
See that, like, and it's funny, like, there's nothing wrong with straight people going to a gay club, right? But
I mean, chicks kiss in straight clubs all the time. Getting men riled up. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a lot of...
When you go to electronic parties, people get gay, and it's a straight club, but like, dudes get naked, chicks are practically naked. Like, you might think you're in a gay bar sometimes.
But there is that issue, right? Like, so for instance, like I've gone to gay clubs or at least the gay nights at clubs or whatever. Right, but there's no, like, I'm not hiding anything from anybody. I went with a bunch of friends, was dancing, it was fun. I'm still trying to get it with girls at the other straight chicks that was there. Shit happens. It was a fun night. But like when all of this stuff starts to come out, it just adds to the complexity. I'm just here to. It's crazy that these are the stories that people are bringing to the surface now, and the list of names. I was just like, yo, this shit is just crazy. It keeps getting wilder. Like there's just so many alleged celebrities in this. Just feels like reading the tabloids or whatever. Like, you know, half of it's bullshit, but it's entertaining just to hear the tea being spilled, I guess.
Help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under the leadership of Pootie Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. There's also the time he went on The Breakfast Club and said that Diddy was fruity.
It did. I think this is an AI that reads these shits.
Yeah,
a lot of these videos, because they say all types of shit wrong. Yeah.
Well, when we did Maya's, like each point of The Simpsons had literally the same language.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was going.
It was like The Simpsons, which known for its quirky humor about everyday life and its prophetic wisdom.
Yeah, every
each
point.
time.
And I was about to rip my headphones off and get out of the room. I was done with that.
Yeah, that happens under two circumstances, which that one may have been both, which is when it's an AI or when they use the same thing each time they make a clip about something, and then they make a long video where they just put them all together. Yeah. And so you get the little same intro for each thing. Yeah, it's just,
you know, if they're putting them all together though, like just take that 2 minutes to just take that part out, you dumb mother. Whatever. I can't.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I noticed that a lot of these are like AI videos.
Saying is like fruity.
50 Cent also claimed that Diddy once tried to take him shopping and that he found it to be really weird.
So yo, when we gonna get a chance to kick it, like we can just hang out. We gotta kick it. This is possible. Okay. You're telling me we gotta kick it, and he's like, yo, why don't we like go shopping or something? I mean, like I pay for it. And I was like, this just saying.
The game also threw shade at Diddy when he spoke about how
it was just the way he said it. But look, y'all, some of this, that's what's so funny about it. Like I was kind of thinking about this from a look, Nitty, we're being bad right now. We're not.
I mean,
we're here for the junk food, Nitty.
That is the most homophobic thing ever, though. Like when I was at my culty-ass church, though, we'd be like, "Hey, bro, I actually need a new pair of pants. You want to go shopping?" It's like, it's not fun, but all right. It wasn't a sign like, "Oh my God, my roommate wants to fuck me in the ass." Like, what am I gonna do? Oh no, he wants to go get pants. Maybe he wants to see my ass in them.
Like, sure. But so like I'm even gonna kick. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I love shopping, so I don't. I'm not the one. So if I'm good at one thing, is spending money. But no, I take it just too as like there are certain things you're about that get said a certain way. That's like you kind of trying to take me out on a date. And so it's the response to that when you're not expecting it. That's because, and again, that's what's so amusing about all this. Because again, Nitty, if I'm just and I'm like, we just got a bunch of this YouTube money, bro. Let's gear up. You want to go shopping? Like, you're down. You see what I'm saying? But also, like,
no,
if I like
all right, let's go spend your fucking money.
If I like somebody and I'm like, hey, I want to take you shopping, you know what I'm saying? That might also be a move. You know what I mean? Just sometimes dinner is just dinner, and sometimes it's dinner. You know what I mean?
To me, it would have to be, hey, Nitty, I want to take you shopping. Yeah. You gotta get those little kisses in there. They'll be like, I like you, Jay, but not, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. We're making
He
progress.
personally
gang.
knows a particular DL rapper who tries to hide his sexuality by being a
think we're almost
womanizer
halfway
or
through.
having
We're
multiple
good.
kids with different baby mamas.
So you think that you've worked with a gay rapper?
Yeah, man. And gay, not being just full out gay, but hiding it, trying to pretend like he, loves girls and live the rap lifestyle, but really, he's a man fan.
So yeah, Diddy and Will are both on the
See, there's
DL,
just
and
that
get
more
this,
hip-hop
Gene has also spoken
homophobia.
about how Diddy and Will both attended gay parties together.
Before that, you was at a party before that they attended, and you said the party was weird. Tell me about that.
I guess that's what Tupac was talking about, the Illuminati and shit. It's like Vivica Fox was with this big gay man. He was 6'9". They called him, his name 6'9". He had the red hair with big old booty and shit. Nobody was gay no more. What the f is going on here? It's just a lot of weird dude.
It's not just a case of two DL guys navigating Hollywood separately. We're talking about two dudes who allegedly dabble in the down low scene together. Now this goes beyond mere speculation. There's a trail of them sneaking around and indulging in, well, let's just say unconventional activities. Adding fuel to the fire is Will Smith's
man
rocky
fan.
marriage with Jada. That union has been nothing short of messy, with whispers about separation buzzing around for years. There's also the fact that Jada revealed that they've been separated for years.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
Right.
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
Yes.
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
And the streets have been saying for a long time that Young Miami is basically Diddy's beard. So again, it's pretty clear that whatever Diddy and Will had been going on for a hot minute. But it got even worse when we found out that Diddy was not the only man that Will had allegedly been doing the nasty with, because according to Will's former assistant and longtime friend Bilal, Will also had a lil something something with actor Dwayne Martin. Bilal sat down with Tasha K and revealed how he had caught Will and Dwayne doing the deed in Dwayne's dressing room.
So 3 minutes later,
now
after them telling me, hey, you got...
You know, the Jada thing, it's just like, again, it's like you're tacking on something that doesn't necessarily correlate to what you're saying. But this, I walked in on them doing the butt sex. Okay, great. Like that. All right, we got it. Eyewitness testimony. Sometimes we call it questionable, sus, but all right. We'll take it.
That's what's going on. There's definitely stories with. That's what I'm saying. There's definitely smoke. There's a lot of smoke, and now you just don't know how much fire is there. Where's the fire coming from?
Yeah.
And then like, where's the lines, right? Because again, if it's freaky celebrity sex culture, like, cool, spill the tea, let's laugh about it. There is a bigger point there. Right, like again, the sort of perpetuating homophobia in the Black community in particular, right? Because again, it's like self-hating Black people. You have people who are literally perpetuating a sort of toxic hetero masculinity, right? That itself is denigrating homosexuality, but then they're hiding it. So this is why it's really tough, because you're like, are they, I mean, it's kind of both, right? It's like, are they perpetuating the problem themselves, or are they like victims of the culture where they're trapped, right? And they can't, like trapped, like where they can't come out about it because it would ruin their careers and all of this. So there's sort of this bigger conversation that needs to be had. But I think it's a problem because again, sorry, just real quickly, I just think so much of the Black community is conservative in terms of ideology, particularly vis-a-vis religion. And so the Black community is not where it needs to be on the LGBTQ issues, and is not, I don't think, having the same conversation that say we're having in even the wider community. Like to the level that we're having it, say, on the mainstream stage of conservatives versus liberals in this country, or within the atheist community, or any of these other spaces. I think I'm not saying that Black people aren't becoming more accepting, but I think they're doing so quietly on an individual basis without it being a family or community or damn sure not organization level discussion.
To me, when you said earlier, well, I mean, when we talked about earlier, like the similarities between this and like pastors with hidden lives or whatever, like it,
Yeah.
you know, when you said they can't come out with this stuff because it would jeopardize their careers. Now, I think the same-sex attraction, same-sex, you know, intercourse type stuff, especially in the 90s and even early 2000s, you're right, it would have probably done something to damage their careers. And so, you know, to me, it rings of that the behavior and just people in general, when they have enough power, they can recognize like, oh, if I make X, Y, or Z public, my following, my adherents, my supporters are going to stay with me.
Well, that's actually...
But if I concede, you know, A, B, and C, then I'm in trouble. So I need to create a world in which my followers, my cult, whatever, who are attached to my personality, my success, the content I produce. Shane Dawson, anyone? If I keep them in that world, approving of me, I can explore my power elsewhere that they don't know about.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing is like it's tough, and I don't even think it would kill their careers, right? I actually think largely probably people don't care. But
well,
it's
later
almost,
on, no.
It's almost like if there's that perception about you, if there's that perception, if you have that perception, then that becomes like a motivating force for you, whether it's the reality or not. You know what I mean? Because I think mostly if people came out of the closet, people just be like, yeah, I don't care. And that's kind of what I mean about this. That's one thing. But now if we're talking about using your influence over people in the industry and things like that, well, that's really fucked up too, right? Because we're trying to have a different conversation about that. Like we're having a different conversation. Like it's not cool to be the boss and use being the boss or your access to help somebody get ahead to get sexual favors.
Right.
Right. That's
No,
not that, or manipulate your
kinda
partner and
do.
things like that.
I kind of do have like a point blank or like stark question to ask you though. Like, let's say Puff Daddy did come out in like the year 2000, right? How likely do you think he'd be able to get like the same level of like people to go on tour with him? Like, so like the profile level of people that would tour with him before he came out versus after he came out. Do you think it would stay the same, or it would be drastically different, or somewhere in between?
If we're in a world where we're assuming like basically all the moves are the same and the music is the same and all of that, it would have been fine. It would have been fine because I wonder
what the chat thinks.
I think there's always been this thing because it was so not talked about in Black communities. It was always there, right? So for instance, there was always this thing where like people suspected that maybe somebody up in the pulpit was homosexual, or the choir director, right, is the most stereotypical example in the Black church, right? Or the organist or whatever, right? And for the most part, even if people thought they were supposed to have a problem with that, they didn't, right? It wasn't something anybody ever went to pastor's office about or complained about, or they didn't treat them poorly. They treated them great. They're like every Sunday, they're just like, love it. You're looking great. Sounded great. Everything was amazing. You're such a blessing to this church, right? And there's also been that about celebrities where there's always, again, been those rumors that this or that movie star is gay or this or that, singer is gay. And I think for the most part, people's like, I don't give a shit because the music is dope. And so if the music being what it was, how integral some of that music was to the birth of hip hop, how huge a lot of that stuff was. I'm not gonna say it wouldn't have made a difference, but nah, man. Like, I mean, you talk about some of the biggest. I don't know. Because I'm trying to kind of. Both of those things are true to me. Like, I don't know. It does seem like people are probably more accepting than the stereotype of hip hop. At the same time, hip hop seems to be built on a unique sort of concentration, right, of that stereotypical heterosexual toxic masculinity, right? It's all about, you know, the girls shaking their butts in the videos and all the lyrics is about.
Has it shifted much with like Deja Cat and like whatnot?
Bro, I can't tell you what these new motherfuckers are doing. Don't even. I can't tell you.
No,
they could be pooping in their music videos and then brushing their teeth with it, and I would not have seen it.
but now she's making out with other chicks in her videos. So I mean, it's just, you know, empowered, power-driven sexuality for, you know, shock factor. It's not, you know.
Yeah,
it's lauding their sexuality to make it sensationalist or something like
right
that.
And we're cool with all that, and again, that's a different line, right? Like, we're cool with celebrity. We know celebrities have sex lives, or same way athletes and things like this. Like, people accept that. Again,
people like to fuck,
but if you're using it right on a professional tip, coercively, that's fucked up. If there's domestic violence involved, that's fucked up. If there's underage people, that's fucked up, right? And so now, when there's been documentation of a lot of the craziness, you know, it opens the door to people. People are at least taking this stuff seriously now, and they're gonna take it more seriously than they would if it was all speculation, if it was all whispers, right? It's no longer just whispers. It's lawsuits and court cases, and the people who were involved in them, you know, putting this stuff out there. So we'll see. Like, that's something like we'll see. Like, 50 Cent is a troll. So if 50 Cent just says, haha, I was just trolling, people are gonna be like, that's 50 Cent. He trolls like that. At the same time, if 50 Cent puts out a documentary, we'll see, right? That's because that's gonna be you have to deal with that, right? Like,
eyes on Will. We need him to come watch this. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, but I see his car there. I'm like, where's this guy at? So now I'm holding Dwayne down too, so I have the keys to his dressing room. So I'm like, yo, and they're calling I'm on walkie-talkie, and they're calling my cell phone. Yo, we need to get Will here. And I'm like, yo, kind of fuck down. Like, I'm trying to find this. Like, this is unlike him, right? So, all right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will.
There you go.
Let me process that for a second.
There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him. Like,
Will's a sub.
But as it turns out, whatever Will had cooking with Dwayne was child's play compared to the full-on freak fiesta he had going on with Diddy. Cassie spilled the beans in her lawsuit, and it seems like she wasn't just blowing smoke. Jaguar Wright spilled the tea, and let me tell you, she did not come to play. But before we get to Jaguar, let's take a minute to talk about how Diddy's bodyguard, Gene, exposed Diddy. According to Gene, Will and Diddy were going all out in these extensive freak sessions that lasted for days at a stretch. Now, Gene is known for spilling some tea on Diddy, but hey, I can't hate him for it because he usually comes with some juicy tea. In an interview, Gene went on to spill that Diddy wasn't just a bystander in the freak-offs with Cassie. He was an active participant in these freak-offs. Apparently, Diddy even handed Cassie an entire list of what he wanted in an escort, not for her own pleasure, but because he was on the hunt for someone to satisfy his own desires.
And she say that, you know, in this lawsuit that, you know, Diddy, he enjoyed watching her get smashed by BBCs. So, you know, what you think about that?
Do you think she was the only one getting banged by him? Do you think this man had this woman search for prostitutes online just for them to have sex with her.
He also went on to say this.
Cassie wasn't the only one who wanted, or she didn't want it, but Cassie who searched for the big black, and she was searching for the big black, not only for herself, but for somebody else who we all know that was in the room with her.
That's a lot.
So if he want to see it, and he want her to touch it,
yeah, they're trying to get it so I could
that other person in the room with her just might want to feel it. Allegedly.
So you feel like Diddy was having sex with the male prostitute?
They had to be for both of them. They was in the room, right?
You're right.
It's a freak off section.
So let's talk about the freak offs. Cause Chile, Jaguar had a lot to spill on them. Cassie was the first to expose
Pay attention. Put it in your. Y'all know freak off is in your vocabulary. Hope you've been studying. Hope you've been taking notes. It's gonna be a quiz. It's a quiz at the end of class.
Call it an orgy or a sexcation or like
Diddy's freak offs in her law suite, and boy, did it sound horrible. According to Cassie, the first time Diddy made her have a freak off, he didn't even get her permission or anything like that. He just hired an escort and they did the nasty. According to the lawsuit, the first time, Mr. Combs hired a man and brought the man to his home in Los Angeles. The man, Mr. Combs, and Ms. Ventura wore masquerade masks and ingested drugs. Mr. Combs directed Ms. Ventura to perform intimate acts with this man while Mr. Combs watched them. He got off to it while he directed Ms. Ventura and the man to do specific intimate acts. The entire encounter lasted multiple days. Mr. Combs began to call the arrangement a freak off, or FO. He would repeatedly tell Ms. Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO, and Ms. Ventura was eventually expected to facilitate the location and the hiring of male escorts. But that's not all, because Diddy also used to force her to use drugs before the freak-offs. She said, Mr. Combs always supplied Ms. Ventura and the escort with copious amounts of drugs before and during the FOs. Ms. Ventura was given ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in excessive amounts during FOs, which allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. It became commonplace to get IV fluids in the days after an FO to recover from the excessive substances pushed upon her. Ms. Ventura was required to dress up in lingerie for an FO, and Mr. Combs insisted she wear white nail polish to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men he hired to be intimate with her. Like that wasn't...
Are you...
Okay,
Nitty.
hold on.
It's wild like that.
But how... I'm trying to think of the logistics of forcing that much inhibition substancing on someone without their consent.
It's
like,
risky.
How? But like how?
Oh, how? For
days?
It's that controlling relationship. That's power over somebody.
I mean, I guess maybe it's kind of like, I guess it could be like a drug. I'm sorry, chat. I'm just trying to.
I know you're just trying to wrap your head around it, but yeah. That's
like it's like I'm trying to,
I mean, you gotta remember when somebody, but there's other things too, right? Like somebody's coerced into a situation. If they know
one drug helps,
if they know it's coming,
the others. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Plus, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I can see that.
Plus, they trying to survive what they know is coming. You know what I mean? So. That's what a lot of this is.
Okay, I agree, Katina. It starts small.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bad enough, he also used to record the freak-offs, just so that he had something to hold over her head. The court document said during the FOs, in addition to directing Ms. Ventura and getting off, Mr. Combs would use his phone, laptop, and tablet to film Ms. Ventura being intimate with the hired escort. He treated the forced encounter as a personal art project, adjusting the candles he used for lighting to frame the videos he took. While Ms. Ventura quickly deleted any photographs or video of intimate acts if they were taken on her phone, Mr. Combs repeatedly repeatedly made clear that he retained many videos of Ms. Ventura during FOs. It went on to say that even when she deleted the videos, Mr. Combs would tell Ms. Ventura that he was able to recover deleted videos from her devices. On one occasion, he sat next to her on a flight and made her watch a video she thought she had deleted, reinforcing her inability to escape and the immense power he held over her. During some FOs, Mr. Combs would become extremely intoxicated and would hit Ms. Ventura in front of the male escorts. Cassie also revealed that she was never allowed to say no to the freak-offs and that Diddy would demand one anytime he felt like it, and there was nothing she could do or say about it. The court document said her anxiety before an FO would become so great that
he settled this in a day.
she would become physically ill, sometimes to the point of vomiting. While kneeling over the toilet, Mr. Combs would shame her into performing for him, eventually forcing her to get up and proceed with the encounter. She knew firsthand that telling Mr. Combs that she did not want to engage in FOs was met with anger and violence. It continued. In addition, any suggestion that Ms. Ventura would refuse the FO or otherwise report Mr. Combs's abuse was met with ultimatums by Mr. Combs, who would say that Ms. Ventura could not go to the police because she had a lot to lose. The FOs became work for Ms. Ventura, and despite her protestations, Mr. Combs insisted on these intricately staged and forced sexual encounters between Ms. Ventura and various male escorts. That was just nasty, but the situation got worse than we could ever imagine because 50 Cent revealed that not only was Diddy recording the freak-offs and forcing Cassie to watch them, but he also sent the video around to a lot of people. A couple of weeks ago, an old video went viral of 50 Cent talking about how there was a bad video going around Hollywood that showed Cassie with other men in a very inappropriate situation.
I know, check this out, on the up and up, the nigga Puff, like he called, we used to kick it on the telephone and shit, after the made shit.
Right.
And the nigga be like, matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like, not the shit that y'all saw. Worse, way worse.
Wow. Oh, you kidding me up?
Like penetration pictures and
Nah, come on, man. Come on, Phil.
So according to 50 Cent, the videos were taken during the freak-offs that Diddy forced Cassie to do, but it gets worse. 50 Cent claimed that he called Diddy to let him know what was going on, but Diddy wasn't exactly bothered by it. 50 also claimed that from Diddy's response, he could tell that Diddy was the one who had been sending the videos around.
I really kind of felt like those photographs were not happening because of Cassie. I felt like they was happening because of Puffy.
Right.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because when a girl moves from a man and she upgrades, niggas be insecure, you know what I'm saying? They start feeling some kind of way, especially like
This is just all shades of messed up. But as it turned out, that wasn't the last time that Diddy had done something like that. You see, after Cassie's lawsuit, a woman named Joey Dickerson Neal came out to claim that Diddy drugged her, SA'd her, and recorded it without her knowledge when she was a college student in 1991. According to reports, the complaint alleges Combs intentionally drugged Dickerson Neal, leaving her unable to stand or walk. The suit said she left her drink unattended with him at the restaurant, and afterward, under alleged pressure from Combs, she took a hit from a blunt. They then drove to a music studio, the suit stated. When Dickerson Neal couldn't exit the car, Combs allegedly took her to a place he was staying to SE-aid her, according to the filing. Even worse, she revealed in the lawsuit that Diddy had made a video of him SAing her and he shared it around. Reports had it that days later, a male friend named Devontae Swing, a member of the popular 90s R&B group Jodeci, revealed to Joey that he viewed an adult tape along with other people, according to the suit. Joey said Swing feared his band would lose its record deal if he spoke against Combs. But that's still not all, because there's still a lot to unpack here.
How crazy is this? Wow. I told y'all this shit was gonna be wild.
You told me.
I said we're
gonna
have some late. It's late night, man. We grown up in here. It's time for grown folks to talk about grown folks' business, man. This is just, this shit is crazy. All right, we're almost
And it gets
done.
wilder. Diddy allegedly has a thing for recording his intimate encounters, and not just for personal keepsakes. Jaguar spilled the tea that it's a full-blown fetish of Diddy's, and he doesn't discriminate, even when it comes to those rendezvous with Will Smith. So, according to Jaguar, Will and Diddy have apparently been deep into these intimate sessions for quite a while. And it's not just them alone, because they've allegedly brought in male escorts, engaged in three-way escapades, and all that stuff you You catch my drift. Now, they're not exactly screaming this out loud because, let's face it, it wouldn't be great for their public image. Jaguar even claimed that they allegedly take turns hiring these escorts, slap them with NDAs, and pay them a lot of money to keep their lips sealed. Now, for the cherry on top. Remember how Diddy allegedly records these sessions? Well, Jaguar claims that Will is in on the action too. He either records these encounters himself or gets copies from Diddy. And here's the shocker. He sometimes shares these videos with his other partners like Dwayne Martin. Speaking of Dwayne, remember when he was in some legal trouble with a lawsuit and he flat out refused to hand over his laptop to the police? Turns out he was sitting on some seriously sensitive material that could have exposed some major players in the industry. He said, the laptop also contained personal photo, which were confidential, privileged, and unrelated to any legitimate interest of the court, including confidential communications with other public figures regarding private, non-financial matters. Well, according to Jaguar, the personal photos and videos were allegedly from Diddy and Will's freak-offs, and Dwayne was using this as leverage over Will. I mean, don't you find it interesting that Will ended up loaning Dwayne $1.4 million to save his house from foreclosure, but Dwayne never paid the loan, and the loan happened around the time of the lawsuit, so it's kind of giving blackmail. As you can expect, fans had a lot to say about this, and they left comments saying, no way is Will Smith innocent, no way. These rumors have been whispers for some time, just as Diddy's have been. He isn't innocent, and maybe that's why he won't divorce Jada. She knows too much. They are pansexuals in Hollywood. None of this is surprising. It's been going on for years. Very famous people taught Diddy and Will the game. We are just in the age of information where everything is available now. Respect Diddy and Will's talent, but as people, it's part of the Hollywood circle and rituals for them. The truth is stranger than fiction, and now we know why Will was okay with the entanglement. Chile, this is one hot stanky mess, but y'all let me know what you think about this situation. Do you believe Jaguar's story about the freak-offs, or do you think that she's maybe stretching things a little bit? Drop your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.
Oh my goodness.
I have a real hard time with agreeing with that commenter that you can respect someone's work when they're like really fucked up. Like, if you told me that Hitler cured cancer, I'd be like, well, I'm glad we have the cure to cancer, but I'm never going to respect him. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
sure. Yeah.
There's like a point of irredeemability for the person that, like, you can be glad that some product of theirs is out there, but you need to disassociate it from the person. Like, maybe that's just me, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know. It's almost like someone in the community that will not be named that has, led to many deconversions, but there's definitely, and a lot of time you can't honestly dissociate. Like you do think about who made the thing that you're consuming. Look, if y'all are not already, there's a link in the description for Nitty. Make sure you subscribe to Nitty's channel. Also appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Like the video, all that good YouTube stuff. Really appreciate that. Welcome for those of you that are new around here. Look, man, let's just let's jump into something a little fun for me. It's Christmas and maybe some new folks in the house. Let's do a little bit of two of my favorite things. We'll end with a little bit of a counter apologetics. Ooh.
A little bit of counter, but on the pro wrestling tip.
Oh my!
On the
goodness.
pro wrestling tip, because Hulk Hogan himself. His baptism has a serious warning for Christians. Let's see.
Wait, Christians?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. You are the company you keep. It's just funny how when the world figures out that some of these people are just the biggest assholes on the planet, they find Jesus. I don't know what Christians are gonna
the
say about that one.
Brother. The legendary Hulk Hogan. I don't know about you guys or how you grew up. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up watching the Hulkster. Hulk Hogan had an amazing appearance on Joe Rogan where he talked about his faith.
And it's just...
Can I just tell you something? Apologists are liars, right?
No.
All right, but setting that aside, and I know Wayne in chat, Wayne could back me up on this. You could tell already from them couple of clips, and there's gonna be a couple of other Hogan highlights that he's lying. This is when apologists always get themselves caught because they think you're as stupid as they are. So I'm telling you, as a wrestling fan, as somebody who grew up watching wrestling, who lived through Hulkamania, I could tell from the highlights he picks of Hulk Hogan's career, nigga, you don't know the wrestling game. No, shut up. Don't try to make it like no. I'm pulling your wrestling card because you didn't even pick good Hulk Hogan highlights. Bullshit. Hulk Hogan is literally the most famous wrestler of all time, and you pick garbage, unheard of clips from moments nobody cares about from this man's career. Get the fuck out of here. You're not legit. Nope.
That relationship I have, not so much with religion, but with our Lord and Savior is what I function on.
But before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. This channel exists to encourage,
what is that?
empower,
Nobody cares.
Inspire you to live a life that
He did a
blesses
super.
God.
Nobody cares.
If you're not new here, please consider subscribing. All right, now let's get into the rest of the video. Hulk Hogan got baptized, ladies and gentlemen. He tweeted this just a couple hours ago.
Trash.
Of apparently, I don't know who this lady is to his right that he baptized, but he got baptized himself. And I don't know if that's, his daughter or a new wife.
His new wife, yeah.
But the Hulkster got baptized.
Woo!
All right.
We got another racist asshole in our clan.
And dedication to Jesus is the greatest day of my life. No hate, no judgment, only love. That's amazing, man. Yeah, I don't know who the person is on the right. Shout out to my guy Michael for tagging me in this. You know, he kind of dabbled in a little bit of new age stuff, right? A little bit of secret, all that kind of stuff, which oftentimes Christians can kind of slide into if they're not careful. But other than that, I mean, the brother had a John 3:16 shirt, was unapologetic about his faith, and was really willing to kind of go on there and represent in that way on Joe Rogan. And I think that's
just look. I'm gonna just for a couple of seconds here, y'all. I'm gonna just war on Christmas. I'm gonna go full war on Christmas. Christian, shut the. Just really because it's like it's so annoying. Like they believe the most ridiculous things that should actually be persecuted. We should actually look them in their face and be like, "Get the fuck out of here! I'm done with this fairy tale. Stop playing." But nobody does. We never do. But then they act like it's so bold to be a Christian celebrity in America. Again, I was literally just watching football the other day, and they grabbed the quarterback and the other dude right after the game, and they was giving them the interviews. First words out of the quarterback's mouth: "I want to give glory and honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who makes everything possible." The other one actually, instead of just having the eye black going, across under his eyes, he actually had the cross. He had the eye black and a cross under each eye. I want to give God all the credit. God is so good. But the Christian he so boldly proclaims his faith. He's got that John 3:16. What? He's not scared to let you Hulkamanias running wild up in this place. Like, bro, this is just.
Jesus loves it when you smash skulls with another man in his name. I mean.
But look, I'm gonna give one for my man Wayne in the chat. Love y'all, chat, man. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. But Wayne, look, even in his faith turn, Hulk's still selling that merch. Got it? Hulk is still selling that merch. All right.
Always
that man could always sell you a fucking t-shirt.
Wait. That aren't exclusively Christian. That is.
Would you? What do you think? He would sell a shirt that's like Jesus never tapped out, like. Like Jesus on the ropes or some shit. Like he's like,
yo, man. If he's smart, he's
on the cross. He's on the cross.
Do some Trumplican.
And the Romans are like,
oh no.
And it's like Jesus never tapped out.
Oh no, Nitty, I just did it to myself. I said he'll do some Trumplican crossover stuff. And then as soon as I said it, I realized, what if Hulk Hogan tries to become the next like right-wing political MAGA star?
Nah.
He's the, I don't know. He's that type of asshole. Like, I hope it's not. But if it happens, you heard it here first.
Is willing to go on and say, I'm going to have the uncomfortable conversations and be bold about my profession. So I think this is super duper dope. Super happy for this dude. And I like the public profession, right? And again, I think that's a daughter. And I want to say this is his new wife. I want to say that because I know he went through a pretty brutal divorce a couple years ago. And so it's awesome to see him bounce back. And I want to just point out something though about this that's very interesting. Okay. It's his caption says total surrender and dedication to Jesus. Total surrender and dedication to Jesus is the greatest day of my life. Now, baptism is an overt outside sacrament profession of an internal conversion, right? In Romans, it talks about how baptism is symbolic to us dying with Christ and then rising out of the water the same way Jesus rose. So baptism is absolutely necessary in the sense of it being something that we should do, right? But I do think that the deeper issue, the symbolic nature of what it's representing, right? Total surrender and dedication to Jesus. And he's kind of getting at this, and I could definitely testify that this has been true in my life, is that sometimes you could be on a journey with Jesus. You could be on a journey even to going to church. You could be on a journey to reading your Bible even. But you may not be in a place where you fully surrendered everything to God and said, Lord, you could have it. You could have it all, right? And in my life, I was definitely in a...
Okay. Whoever in existence could ever claim...
Oh, I just did it.
I've given everything to Jesus, because Christianity is a fucking hamster wheel where you're on the wheel and you're like, oh, guess what? I love Jesus. And then you're in the Christian cage and you're not completely aware of it, but you're on the wheel now. And the wheel is, I'm going to give everything to God. I'm going to give everything to God. My life has totally changed. It's so awesome. And what fucking happens after a couple months? You go, oh man, I've backslidden. I just haven't given everything to him. There's something new in my life. Hold on. I give everything to Jesus. I got to go really hard. I got to really commit myself.
I just love it because at the end of the day, it's the Christian really talking to other Christians and getting into the slavery Olympics. You know, it's like when they can really talk to each other.
Maybe I'm softening it with the hamster wheel.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's forced
frantic,
yeah. But again, it's the whole purpose is to not be free, but give everything to Jesus. It's so weird how they fetishize not having their freedom. And yes, I stopped this somewhere. I got to figure out where the hell we were.
Even to going to church.
Here we
could
were.
Be on a journey to
sounds good.
Reading your Bible even. But you may not be in a place where you fully surrendered everything to God and said, Lord, you could have it all. You could have it all, right? And in my life, I was definitely in a space where once upon a time I was going to church and even reading my Bible and even had Christian friends. But I still had one foot in doing my own thing, living my own way. Right? And
Nitty, did you write the script?
I was basically halfway and not fully surrendered. Now,
not fully
I'm sharing
surrendered.
this with you guys because that's actually a dangerous place to be as a Christian. If
you're off the wheel,
have made a profession, have made the claim, the belief, placed your heart, placed your faith in Jesus, believed with your heart, professed with your mouth, but you haven't surrendered, and that's why I think these sorts of sacraments are important, to make these overt statements. You could be in a tricky place because you're there, but you're not fully surrendered, right? And
this is hang on. This is actually important for us as atheists to consider, right? Because he's actually touching on something really important, which is sort of the importance of like the public declaration, like the big ones, right? Because they're trying to get you to not soft pedal it, right? They're trying to get you to really commit. Like it's almost like a wedding or something, right? Like it's like, you know, are we just dating? Is this because, you know, we could date and not date and not date, and it's not really something. But if you're really about this, then we gonna get married. And if you think about it, you could just look at them and be like, well, we could just spend the rest of our lives together. Like, that'd be cool. I'm cool with that, right? But no. We have to get married. You understand what I'm saying to you, Nitty? Because you have to let everybody know this is what it is.
Right. Hold on.
And I think for a lot of us that are coming out of the faith, it's easy to lose sight of the power, how powerful those sort of identity development moments are. Like, because I think that, again, I'm always thinking, like, if we're gonna talk about why people believe, then can we please talk about why people believe? Right, which means, yes, I get some entertainment out of talking about the Kalam cosmological argument and the philosophical this and the anti-science that and the blase and the fucking flavonoids, but at the end of the day, none of that shit has anything to do with why anybody's a fucking Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that identity it is. And for some of them that were like us, we went through those steps, right? And those steps, the baptisms, the public declarations, being part of the worship team, whatever it is that puts you on, like, you know, made it a big part of your identity and who you were. That's hard for people to let go of. So yeah, I just think we got to like keep that in mind when we're talking to believers. And I actually want to ask some of them about it sometimes. Like sometimes we're having these people, I'm like, all right, let's just stop talking about this nonsense, because we're never going to agree as to the age of the earth or whatever the fuck. Because, you know, they're not even playing the game, to be honest with you. So, but I do kind of wonder, like, where are they coming from? Like, what kind of Christian are you? Like, what's really keeping you in the faith? Like, you know, and it seems, unfortunately for a lot of them right now, it seems to be very politically driven. Like they're seem to be into the anti-woke and all of that type of stuff. But that to me is more interesting to kind of get at what's really going on with them.
It was a process, and it ended up, God ultimately had to break this relationship in my life that was keeping me from fully surrendering to him. And then it was like, once this relationship that I was dating this girl, once it fully was broken, then I was able to fully surrender. But the mess and the process it took to get to the fully surrender was hurtful, in the sense that I had found out that she had cheated on me, and I had found out that like everybody knew about it except me, and it turned into this confrontation where I basically like pulled up on her, and the guy was leaving, and it was just a big mess. Now this is back in high school, it's a long time ago, but some of those like scars never go away. Some of those the remnants of that on the soul never fully go away. You're still kind of dealing with some of that stuff, right? And so in that, I wish I could have just surrendered earlier, if I'm honest with you guys. And so this is why I appreciate about this, because total surrender and dedication to Jesus is not the same as making a casual profession. It's not the same as putting up your hand and saying a prayer. It's not the same as just saying you believe with your mouth, but actually believing with your heart, and then your actions beginning to follow, right? And so I'm not saying he's saying all of that here. I'm not saying that this is something that is him halfway professing cause more issues. I don't know. I'm just speaking from my own life and in my own heart. Halfway professions, halfway doing things is not the way to go. Hot or cold, right? For me or against me. If you're going to say you're about Jesus, surrender everything, dedicate your life to him, and go all in. Because the alternative is not better, you know? And
the other thing
is,
like, I don't know how recent this is, but like it's just so interesting to watch again from the outside as they celebrate more and more known con artists come into the fold. This very much reminds me of when they got all excited about Logan Paul professing his faith in a boxing ring, you know, after his whole thing. And I'm like, this man is literally just, everybody hates him. Like, he's literally a known crypto scammer. Like, you know, like, okay, like I know people come to faith and they're repenting and all this, but this is just like, it's so funny to like out from the outside, like watch Hulk Hogan work Christians as an atheist. It's like, this is Hulk Hogan. Like, gang, let me just put it to you like this. Hulk Hogan is the type of asshole who, I'm gonna give it to him, he's literally almost unarguably like literally the most famous professional wrestler ever. Like, it's very hard to think of a more famous wrestler than Hulk Hogan. It's like very difficult. I don't think there is one. But still, he manages to lie about everything. Like, having lived a life where there's nothing to lie about. You could talk about all the times you sold out Madison Square Garden and was the champion forever and body slammed Andre the Giant and led the NWO and you're the coolest dude ever and whatever. But the man just lies about, and I'm talking like, Dana White wanted me to be in the UFC. No, it's definitely not fucking true. They wanted me to be the original bass player from Metallica. What the fuck are you even talking about right now? like that type, like, and he does it all the time. He like lies. He ruins documentaries. Like, there'll be a documentary, everybody will be sharing like true stories from behind the scenes about the wrestler, and then Hulk Hogan, who like everybody knows, like they hated this wrestler, like hated Hulk Hogan, and like, Hulk Hogan just like tells some story. He's just like, oh no, that's not even fucking true. This whole thing, he just took me out of this whole fucking movie. But again, he put on that John 3:16. Yeah, brother, I'm all about the Jesus Christ, brother. Total surrender and no judgment. It's all, bro. Yeah. He's just Christ washing his reputation because he's finally been like forever shunned from the wrestling business, and he's trying to work his way back into American consciousness. And he knows the easiest way to mark these people is with that Lord and Savior, brother. Go ahead, Nudie.
I don't know. Like, sometimes though, when you said he knows he is out of the wrestling community.
Oh yeah.
When I think about
for
like,
now, he'll be back.
Right. But when I think about like my former Christian life and what baptism is essentially doing psychologically is it's grounding and further illustrating your commitment and identity to your in-group. And so like it's a ritual that cements that sense of like belonging and acceptance. And like now that he has that, he is using that as a platform to like reinforce his security of his beliefs, and he gets the added benefit of making a shit ton of money on it. So let's say I could give him the benefit of the doubt that he's totally sincere and not lying, but it's so entangled in the like the psychology of that he's going through and the additional reward he gets for being in that brain state.
Yeah,
like
it's also
being
just
in that world.
It's also just weird, like, because a lot of the reason he's falling out with people is because he's kind of like he's like known to be racist and shit like that. He's
sure,
you know, stuff been documented in his own lawsuits and cases and stuff like that.
See, that's all forgiven now. and he's more secure in himself.
Right, but that's right. So that's what's getting me. That's what's getting me about this tagline here: no worries, no hate, no judgment. That only love, because it's like professing your allegiance to the group that typically does the judging and the hating and is giving all of us worries, but at the same time, like projecting it out there, like, no, we're, it's that Christian double talk, right? Yeah. Like it's that we don't judge or hate. It's only love, but that's also their way of saying, don't hate me or not love me for judging and hating others. Which is it's like, it's so irritating. But because again, he could have just left it at total surrender and dedication to Jesus is the greatest day of my life.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to, if you're wondering why I was giving like stern, out in space faces, I was trying to find something in psychology related to that, cementing rituals and things like that. But I was struggle busting, and I had to just stop you at when you said that wrestling comment, like the idea of like lost community and regaining it. I'm like, haha.
Yeah. No, I think that ritual thing is important, man. Like when I some people, like I played at a church for a long time as a atheist. I just, it's just a gig. And one of my favorite things to do was baptisms. Like just because I loved all the social events, right? I loved actually getting to spend time with all the people rather than just because Sunday I got a lot of responsibilities, and so you don't really get to just like chill with people and kind of just be with the group and all that stuff and play games. And we always had a ton of fun on our social events, but baptisms were like the best because they would be in like, you'd have to have some basically rich person in the congregation has like a big ass house where you could fit a couple hundred people in there, right? And then they'd be like these big, huge potlucks. And we'd like get together and literally play like crazy, weird, like church camp games with like everybody involved, like running all around the house, hiding, doing crazy shit. And then just like eating and talking to each other, hanging out, and then like dunking these fools in the water. That's always what I call it. I say, oh yeah, we gonna dunk these fools in the water. I'm gonna be there. I'm not gonna miss a baptism now. But their parents would like fly in because these were college students, a lot of them. So their parents would be coming in from different parts of the country and stuff to be there, and then you'd have everybody and you'd sing a couple songs or whatever. So it was always like a big deal. You realize that like, if people if they're going to stay on that path and go through their trajectory with this will be up there with like their wedding day and the birth of their kids and the day they graduate, for them, this is a forever day. They got baptized, and you do feel, you do feel like you have a kind of a special bond with somebody anytime you can be there for a day that's that important to them. I mean, it's and I'm saying this as somebody who just like was an atheist. Like I'm not buying into any of this, but this is a very powerful and engaging social experience we're having right here. Yeah, I'm down. Like, yeah. And I was literally like that. I was like, oh no, I'm down. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Yeah. Oh, I'm there.
In Hulk Hogan's case, Mel, I see your comment. He did have a public confession. I mean, he was on Joe Rogan publicly confessing, right? He was on Joe Rogan publicly confessing, but he seems to, perhaps there was parts of his life that he didn't fully surrender. Perhaps there was parts of his life that he didn't fully surrender. So how do you surrender? Big Chief, that's a great question. How do you surrender? I think you surrender by simply allowing God to have a dominion over every area of your life. Meaning that, are we saved?
That is just
but do we still have some things we're holding on to that we think we know better than God? I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go deep, real personal. Pastor Mike Signorelli is in here. I'm sure he'll appreciate this. I'm going to go deep. Some of you guys have made your profession. You've went to the Bible study. You've done the things. But there's areas that you're not fully submitted to God. The most obvious one, how about this one? We always joke and we say the last part of a man to get saved is his wallet. Right now, obviously.
Oh, I thought it was his dick.
we're using
He not keeping it that
language
real,
to
Nitty.
point to.
He's not getting that personal.
Right? What am I saying? Your heart can believe, your mind can believe, but boy, when it comes to submitting your finances to the Lord, man, when it comes to getting on a budget and giving money to your church regularly.
Look at this motherfucker, right? He's sitting here telling however many million, 100,000 motherfuckers who I'm getting nasty now, who watch his fucking channel. Look at his studio. Can we please see what his property value is?
Yeah.
Can we see how much his goddamn shoes cost? How about, I bet that sweater costs more than half my Lego sets. Like, maybe even combined, you know? Like, how about that watch he's wearing? How about, you know, the lights and the green screen or whatever else the fuck he's got going on? You want to tell me that his life, his financial situation is a reflection of Jesus? I'm sorry. I don't know when Jesus got in a fucking yacht, traveled the known world all on his own with naked chicks and, you know, all the food he could ever want and was like, look, I'm so sacrificial. Get the fuck out of here, mister. The last thing to convert is his wallet. Take a look in the goddamn mirror and wipe your ass with all those dollar bills that you're telling us not to have.
And I think for a lot of them, it feeds right into the gospel of prosperity. Like for them, like they remember a time, you know, they put $50 in the offering plate, and that was a lot of money to them at the time. And so now that they're rich, that's God rewarding them for the sacrifices they made. But I'm just saying that's how, you know, they rationalize this stuff in insane ways, like absolutely insane ways.
And this is most evident in the rates that Christians.
He's probably spent more money on getting a crooked ass bowl cut than Cameron Bertuzzi has for someone to jizz in his hair. All right, I'm done.
Man, if they were wrestlers, they both be getting the "you look stupid" chant from the crowd.
Christians
That would be good.
Tithe and give. It's abysmal. What percentage of us actually give to our churches at all? Like anything. And what percentage of us give 10% or above? It's abysmal. And then you wonder why you keep having issues in your finances, and you keep getting your car keeps breaking down. The month is always longer than your paycheck. Well, have you fully surrendered that aspect of your life to the Lord? And are you really handling your money God's way? Or are you being generous?
Christian logic is literally give away money to God, and you will have more money. And we're like, Christians, that is not how math works. And this is the problem we have in this country. We're literally, that's the conversation we're having. Their financial advice is, if you would faithfully give. Are you struggling from paycheck to paycheck right now? Are things tough? Have you considered giving away 10% of your income? Have you considered giving away 10% of your income and then some? Yeah, you will have more money. It's just, that's not how any of this works.
You know, hold on. I wonder if the college financial crisis could have been solved by parents not tithing. Right? Like, imagine all of that 10% accrued up for these like generally well-to-do, you know, families that send their kids off to college. And then these kids who had everything they could have fucking wanted growing up show up at the doors of whatever private or state college that they want to, you know, go off to and suck the capitalist man's dick for. And they show up there and they don't have a goddamn cent to their name. And they're signing 20 years of their life away to get an education that they may or may not fucking use because it's not American Idol up in there, and they're not going to live out their goddamn dreams. And they're going to break their backs and their lives for something their parents could have paid for had they not given a cent to the Jesus who doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I actually think that the church keeps certain families in generational poverty because you can't you're not there's not a whole lot of us that live above a threshold where you could reasonably afford to give away 10% of your income and then some and do what you need to do. But also I just love this. He said give it to the poor. He did not say give it to the church. And I would just like to remind Christians that like that's not charity work, right? The church is not a charitable organization. Your money, when you give it to the church, it's not going to the poor. It's not making the community better.
Right.
It's going to church funds. It's probably salary and the building fund and the sound system and all of this type of nonsense. And yes, your church may break a little something off for the soup kitchen once in a while, but that's usually much less than they would pay in taxes if they actually paid taxes. So that's a whole nother diatribe, but
right.
Yeah,
it's not the ratio to which, like, so imagine every person gave 10% to the church, right? The church is not doing that output ratio like that their congregants are doing, right? For them, like their community, whatever the fuck, the 10% from everyone is required to keep the lights on, or the pastor happy and paid or whatever,
right?
Or to live above a standard of living that everyone else does. And then the output for the community is going to be less than everything that was put in by far, right? And so if you actually told that to the people who believe that this place is a positive, it's a light on it's a shining light on the hill, right? We're doing so much by just being here. Like, no.
I wish they would just give it. I wish they would just give it to charity. But it's so funny too the way this was framed.
Pay taxes anyway. It's like, anyway.
It's just so funny the way this was framed as like the whole thing of what you really need to do is completely surrender. You need to surrender everything to Jesus, give it all to him, and that's the warning that they take out of a baptism. I mean, it's just crazy. That's the one thing I really liked about the counter apologetics content out here is this is the stuff I would hear as a Christian. This is the type of logic that's spewed in the church. This is the type of logic that comes from the pulpit and from people in the church. And you think you're crazy for hearing this type of stuff, and you could finally hear it and go, "Oh yeah, that just sounds fucking ridiculous." But look, I like to keep the logic around here pretty simple, folks. Free people don't call anybody Lord or Master. So if you're having to call somebody that or refer to somebody as your Lord or your Master, yeah, you're definitely not free. And that whole complete surrender talk is literally just fetishizing it. But again, this is what people need to talk about because that's the identity piece, right? That's right. That's not biblical. That's not they don't. I mean, I'm sure they support it with some scripture, right? But it's mostly it's mostly the social mandate, right? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying in the way that they go about it, right? They're not. It's not. It's like it's about what it means to be a Christian, right? More so than like the understanding of the scripture and shit like that. And it's definitely not. Yeah, it's again, to me, it's that compulsion to be all in to live the Christian identity. But look, y'all, I want to make sure y'all get out of here on time. We're done. I'm gonna drop a link in chat for the next stream. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. There's a link to Nitty's channel down in the description. This was really awesome. Thanks to Purple Rhymes with Orange for setting this all up. I love you guys. Thanks so much for doing this with us, and we'll see you next time. Said I'm gone.